we'll have this discussion.
Discussion? What discussion?
This is a discussion.
Combustion.
Coming to you from Denver, Colorado. This is Discussion Combustion Podcast with your hosts, Kevin Batstone and Arthur Raw.
What's up, happy world? Happy 2021 to y'all. 2020 is over. What a hell of a year. 2021 starting off strong.
We got work to do.
It's coming in hard. You know, breaking news, we all saw it. What's happening in Washington. It's just unfortunate someone had to lose their life today out there, man.
You know, a lot of passion flowing out there.
You know, so as a nation, I just want all of us to come together. You know, there's things that all of us have in common. And it's not good on the world stage for America to be so divided. So regardless of which side you're on, take that into consideration. We are America. We are a nation together. And together we're strong. And we need to work on that. And I'm happy to bring in episode 83. We got Mike Pachan back in the building. What, Kevin? Go ahead and say what he is.
Well, he's 2020's guest of the year on Discussion Combustion.
Yeah.
Kicking off 21 right. We got Patchy Patch back here.
We do. And we can't help it. I mean, he's one of our great sponsors. We love Mountain Made CBD. And this is a great platform because we support what Mike does and what he thinks about and wants to talk to y'all about. So, you know, of course, today's episode is brought to you by Mike Pachan, Mountainmade CBD. That's Mountainmade.life is where you're going to go to get your crystal clear, active lifestyle CBD products.
It's a great time to do it, man. We're in 2021. You know, you guys are hitting that reset button. You know, here we go. New year, new me kind of thing. Well, why not, you know, get yourself dialed in with some CBD to help you do it. These guys are offering the auto pay, auto ship discounts, bundle and save, build, boost, recover, puff, combat, and taking care of your furry friends with that CBD for the dogs.
Dogs, baby.
Great stuff, man. These guys are constantly innovating. They love your feedback. They love critiquing it, seeing what you guys are thinking. You know, Mike's been the first to say, tell us what you guys like, what you guys don't like. They took the recover. They added a little bit of chamomile to it, which I have yet to try. Still rocking that magnolia, which I love, Mike. But I'll tell you this, man, Mountain Made is the place to be. To hashtag go like hell, you know, letting a rip tater chip. They got the workout programs. They got everything you need to succeed in 2021.
Man, Mountain Made, get this stuff on your shelves. This is a company that's doing the right thing. They're set up with all the regulations. So if you want CBD on your shelves, you want to sell some extra product, make some extra money, get something that has great ingredients. They don't cut corners, and they're shipped nationwide. They got all these programs. They have the Mountain Made Mob, like you were just saying. They have workout programs. They look out after dogs. You know, they have a puff, a smokable. They're literally covering all the bases. Wake up, get you going in the afternoon, keep it going, and then go to sleep with the recover, man. They're covering the bases, and that is go like hell.
Go like hell, baby. And DC Peace is also brought to you by Wild Outdoor Adventures, guys, and that's WOAMEET.com.
Go ahead and explore the world. This is a beautiful place. We're all very fortunate to actually have a life on this planet. And what is it if we just spend it all in the four walls? Of course, we need a quarantine. Of course, with all the C-19 crap, we have to be conscious. So just make sure you're keeping 6 feet. But here's the thing, is you can go onto their website, join at no charge. You can see the activities they have going on at no charge. And then from there, you can even start a questionnaire. You can start a blog. You'd be like, hey, what's hot during the wintertime? What's everybody doing? Hope for Vets, Hope for Teens. If you're an entrepreneur, check it out. Easy to use website.
That's right, man. Supporting, you know, local businesses, Colorado abroad. It is kind of, you know, specific to Colorado. So if you're passing through, if you're a resident here, if you just moved here, WOA is a great way to meet people, create friendships, create lifelong memories, and a great way to see the beauty that Colorado has to offer. Like Art said, a free and easy to use website, blog with others, follow them on all social media platforms. Check out their videos on YouTube. They post all their hikes so you can see what you're getting into before you get out there. That's less dreaming and more exploring.
Absolutely. And we're about to explore a wonderful conversation with one of our favorite people, 2020's top
2020's guest of the year.
Guest of the year.
Man, the build up. I hope I still got it in 2021, huh?
Oh, hey, you're in the running. You're coming out of the gate strong.
We are about to find out.
Yeah,
Hell
it just started.
man.
It's the 6th. You got an award already.
Man, happy New Year's, huh?
Yeah, man. Happy New Year. You know, I'm glad you could make it down here. I like your hat.
Yeah, thank you.
You're looking good, man. And look, we got a big year ahead of us. It's going to be great.
Yeah, we do have a big year ahead of us, and I think that was a great opening monologue there. You know, it's time to be Americans again, and you know, not that some of us haven't. Maybe some of us strayed from it. That's all right. You're always welcome back. let's do what this country's best at and work hard and work together.
We need to, man. We need it more than ever. There's been so much division, and we've talked about it so many times with the factors that play into that with social media. Last time you were on, you talked about how you got off of it.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's still
100%. Yeah,
probably one of the best
Nice.
decisions you made.
Yeah, I wrote that note because I have my notebook here again. As
You're always jotting
2020,
down.
I guess, yeah. Restriction. It's been super difficult because I feel like I have a lot to say, and I feel like I can communicate stuff fairly well to people. But just with the hype that has been the past, year and a half, 2 years of it's built up, I was not communicating effectively anymore. And I was seeing a lot of people around me really drop the ball on not communicating effectively. So I just said to hell with it and did the ultimate challenge. And it's, there's plenty of days where I just want to log back on and be like, this, and that restriction is really what I've challenged myself with. So, April was the last time I've logged into any social media. So what is that, like 9 months ish?
And you're not missing out on anything. It's
No,
it's the same BS on there.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, it's kind of like when you finally get over like a substance abuse problem, and it's always glorified in your head, and then you get back into it, and the next day you're like, oh, that was a terrible decision.
Yeah.
That definitely makes sense
It's
to
a
me.
fair reference.
Yeah.
It is an addiction. Social media is an addiction.
Oh, 100%.
You
I mean,
know,
they
and
talked
they've
about
proven
that.
that.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
the Social Dilemma on Netflix, which was
Right.
tremendous. It really did talk about the way that they are able to attract people with the notification bell, or so and so posted this, and it's constantly trying to get you to click on it to get you re-engaged.
Right.
Click on us. We'll feed you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
It's just amazing, and people do get a dopamine release
Yep.
from getting new comments, new likes, new followers, new friends.
Oh, 100%.
But what does it really mean?
Yeah, and what does it really mean, and what good is it really doing collectively as a whole? In all fairness, I do, when I say follow, I don't have a Twitter account, but I have certain accounts that I go to look at to get downloads on news or updates. But, I've, again, made it a goal to not look at the comments. I'm just looking at, some information that I trust, because that's another big thing with social media is now, that trust bridge that we've built with each other, and people feeding correct or incorrect or inaccurate information. And I think it's interesting, too, with social media, how we used to talk in facts and provable facts, and now it's so broad stroke and emotional, and how much bearing that's supposed to have in a conversation,
I mean,
where I don't really get that. Like, we're
anyone
supposed
can
to talk.
justify their emotions.
Yeah,
Like anyone
right.
can justify their emotions, but it's like, does it logically make sense? And-
Exactly.
but it's
Sure.
hard. It's like, so it's hard to challenge yourself, and it's difficult to change. Like, and for my example, like coming into the new year, I was trying to do dry January, and I did it for a couple days, and then so I was saying drink less January. Like, I'm drinking less. Like, so I'm drinking now, and so that was hard for me, because I was trying to do that on my own, but I'm trying to cut carbs. I'm trying to cut snacking. Like, I'll still eat bread, but I'll try to cut the snacking at night. I'll try to, make sure that I'm still working out. I'm trying to change myself, and I'm constantly walking by the snack bowl that's looking there, and I'm like looking at the bag of chips, and I'm like, no. But I'm noticing that, and I'm seeing that challenge. And so it's just like with opinions and emotional opinions that, could potentially affect other people. Like, it's important for you to, things shouldn't be easy. Life should never just be easy. Like, you need to challenge yourself, and it needs to be difficult. You need to question your morals constantly and see, like, am I feeding myself the right information? Like, does the information I'm receiving benefit myself and others around me? Or is it really just putting down other people? And to challenge yourself is difficult, but I think it's important for people to know that it's hard, and it should be hard.
It is hard. I'm going to just keep bringing up the word restriction tonight, because I just think it's such an important word. I've studied lightly to medium Kabbalah the past 5.5, 6 years, so Jewish mysticism, a Kabbalistic practice, and they talk all about restriction, and it's a, you think about like restriction is saying no to something that maybe you think you want but you don't really need, and it's a spiritual practice to say no to something and not get that instant dopamine result, but go through the process of not having and conquering that, whether it's, a little tiny bag of Doritos, or, telling grandma to go F herself because you're all upset on social media and she doesn't think like you anymore. Like, restricting is a really, really strong spiritual practice. I didn't know what to do these past 2 days. I wanted to do something to participate in what's going on nationally, but I also, know that, like, standing outside with a sign is not really my thing, but I wanted to have an add-in somehow. So yesterday and today I fasted, and I restricted myself from food. And every time I was hungry, I put the word pray in my head. And yesterday I had a cup of yogurt, small cup of yogurt at 7 a.m., 3 cups of coffee, and a bowl of soup at 5 p.m. And then this morning I had a small cup of yogurt at 7 a.m. and a protein bar and an apple at 4:30 p.m. when I walked out of the house to come down here, and that's it.
I know.
So I've been fasting.
And Mike said no to me because I called you and I was like, bro, I'm grabbing some bomb carne asada burritos.
So good.
And it was good. But he said no. But
restricted myself from it.
The restriction is true.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, people need a restriction. I think it's a healthy thing. I mean, we become so accustomed, and
instantaneous.
Everything's instant.
Mm-hmm.
If you want DoorDash, they'll bring it to you. If you want social media, it's there. If you want movies, entertainment, pornography, whatever it is that you're needing to lean on, it's there. It's lurking in the shadows.
Yeah.
So I think it is good to pull back on that and really check what needs to be a part, what's essential, and what's leisure, and can we cut out the fat, some of this unnecessary shit that's toxic to our lifestyle.
Yeah, and I think that'll be a big decision to help folks move forward. But really, I think all in all, I personally just keep leaning into social media as an amplifier. I mean, you take all the other variables that we're seeing right now today, and you look at them 3, 5, 8, 10 years ago, a lot of them those factors have been here 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Social media is one of the big variables that's been introduced and is new.
True.
And it's just such an amplifier. It's an amplifier for, excitement and depression. It hits both ends of almost any spectrum or conversation.
And then you have all these, influencers or people out there that portray this perfect image or this perfect lifestyle, and they're using filters, and they're not even being them true selves. And so it's like, challenge yourselves. Like, if you're an influencer out there, challenge yourself to show the true you. Like, challenge yourself to show people that it's okay to not be perfect. Like, that's where there's going to be strength, because there's a lot of opportunity for social media to help lives. And, like, of course there's a bunch of areas that it has helped, but like you're saying, it's like amplifying all this negative stuff. It's like, what do we want to feed our minds with? And that's one thing that I'm really big on this year. And of course, it's just another rotation around the sun, but I'm feeling motivated this year. I came out of a dark place. 2020 was a year of growth for me. Like, I feel like 2021 is going to be the year where I finally never pick up an opiate again. Like,
oh, nice.
I'm there.
That's great.
And it's been a long journey. It's been like 5 years of being like, look, I'm an addict. I don't want my life to be like this. And I feel like this is the year to where I finally put it behind, because I don't need it anymore. And it's like, we have to look within, challenge ourselves, and get uncomfortable, and we'll build a better us out of it.
What was your biggest point of growth this year in 2020? You said it was a year of growth for you.
So getting wheels back under me. Like, I had a car repo with all my dumb opiate stuff. So I got a car back underneath me. I was able to pay off a lot of debts, back taxes to the IRS. I paid all that off.
Wow.
Like, I got my credit up like 200 points. It was way low.
It's tremendous.
And so, like, yeah, this has been a great year of growth for me, and I feel very fortunate, but I know deep down, like, if I didn't challenge myself and I didn't look at myself for what I was and told myself that I don't like who I am and I want to be something better, and then actually fight for that day to day, like, it wouldn't have happened. So it's like, it's important for us all to take a moment to look within and really think, like, how do my actions affect the world? Like, am I helping people? Am I just putting people down? Like, because we all disagree, and that's okay. Like, it's okay to have disagreements and different opinions. but it should be respected and understood. And maybe you just agree to disagree, but still do it with respect. You know?
And that's something that I think we've lost, is the respect for one another. You know, not only in our country but worldwide. I think that loss of respect is shown. You know, where people lose friendships, family relationships over a difference of opinion. You know, that's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. That's what it's come to.
Social media, man, we're just going to keep touching on that tonight. I think last time we were here, we talked a lot about authentic selves and, you know, some social media stuff, but it's good to come back to it because it's present. And I don't think it's a fad, unfortunately. I think it's really here to stay. So it's really, how do we cope with it and make it work, then please go away, please go away.
It's cemented into our existence
it's
now.
Interesting how much social media, I just, you know, and you try and look back and some things progress so slowly you can't put a start point to them. But I don't remember, I'll call it 5 years ago, and that's a loose timetable, that things were so hyperbolic.
Oh, it's super hot right now. It's boiling water.
Hyperbolic. I mean, you can't just say something's bad. It's got to be shit, damn, fuck, hell, fall apart. Like,
Right.
You have to stress it that much. Like, so you can't just dislike someone. You have to hate, bigot, xenophobe.
So does that
You
take
know,
out the
it's-
authenticity of it then? Because, like, if everyone's going that hard, is it less authentic? Or?
I think so. It's, you know, if you can't explain something in a simple manner, I mean, I think, don't hold me to this, but I think it was Einstein who has said, you know, the most complex ideas are explained in the simplest manner. Something to that nature, right? Where he was able to take, Einstein didn't walk around and, you know, E equals MC squared, and if you don't understand that, you're an effing idiot. Einstein would, like, talk to kids and, like, relate huge complex things to people in a polite manner. He didn't think you were a moron. He just knew he was more intelligent, but he could get along with everyone. You know, so I don't think hyperbolic makes you authentic, because you're not able to get your point across in just a plain Jane fashion. Just talk it out. Like, just say what you need to say. If someone gets your point, cool. If they don't, maybe you need to explore it more. Maybe you're actually incorrect or wrong or not on the right path. Maybe there's more to uncover, explore, but you can't get anywhere in a hyperbolic contest where it's just one mountaintop after the next, and before you know it, you've both peaked, and then hate and dislike comes in, and it's so easy to be hyperbolic from afar.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, why would I say anything nasty to you guys right here? But you get frustrated and you shoot off a quick text. That space now that we have where we're communicating through something rather than in an intimate environment has emboldened people to speak hyperbolically. And man, that's just another piece where I just had to get out of that social media trap. That hyperbolicness is just outrageous.
It really is. And like you said, it's cemented in. It's not going anywhere, unfortunately. So we do have
social media.
So the social media
right.
aspect of it, and the keyboard warriors, and
Right.
people getting, you know, with that distance between them, not sitting face to face, would they have the same courage to call you whatever they call you on, you know, our haters call us on YouTube or whatever.
Right.
Those people aren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
This just gives them a profile and a platform to do it at, to where, you know, they can amplify it and respond to this person, and it just climbs up this ladder until it blows up. But it's also starting to spill over into our day-to-day lives now. You know, it really is turning into, well, you believe that? Psh, you're a fucking idiot, and I don't
Right.
want to associate myself with you. And it comes back to one of my favorite quotes. People will do more to avoid pain than they will to gain pleasure. Right? So they end up being stuck in a mentality that's comfortable for them, rather than trying to adapt and grow and maybe take a different perspective. They'll do more to avoid that pain than they will to gain pleasure. And it really, you can see it. You can see it in the psychology of people.
Yeah.
You know, it's going back to challenging ourselves and giving up things, like with your restrictions, with, you know, people want the overly painted pictures and the sugar-coated scenarios. It's easier. It's
Right.
easier than swallowing the cold hard truth.
Yeah, and it can be, and it takes a lot of work. I mean, congratulations on setting that goal for yourself. Personally, when I overcame, you know, my recreational drug habits, you know, I had that conversation with myself. I was going to quit for 3 or 4 years before I finally hit that hard stop. And when I hit that hard stop, the first year was the most challenging. And then even year 2 and 3, I mean, you see it on TV or the movies and it's so glorified. You're like, hey, man, I should just get a little taste. And you just keep restricting. And now I'm at a point coming into year 6 this summer where I just can't even imagine doing it anymore. Just even after a couple beers on the weekends, it just doesn't even resonate in my head. And I've actually had the opportunity to say no directly to it several times. But it's an interesting process.
I mean, it's a personal growth thing, and you know, I have mentioned this before on the pod, but it's you know, I give some support. Well, I definitely give support. I give credit to my support, which is my friends and people who I've been open with, and support to this podcast too, because it's helped keep me accountable. I want to be real on here, and yeah, it was like 5 years running. Like, I had a horrible issue. I was doing pills almost every day out of the week. I was working to get high, getting high to work, and like, it was a vicious cycle, and I was stuck in it. And to be in that place and to recognize like, this is not good anymore. Like, I'm sick of not having money, or like wondering when my next check's, and like, where's my hook? Like, I was sick of that stress, and it took 5 years of beating myself up, taking it, and then being like, fuck, why did I do that? And like, how does this really make me feel? And then fucking up again and again, and like lying to people that I care about. And you know, it's just at some point, like, I am going to grow as an individual from it. And any, like I'm saying, it shouldn't be easy. Like, if you're actually trying to do something, it shouldn't be easy. And it was a long, hard 5 years of doing this, and 2020, I slowed it down a lot, but coming into this year, like, I really just feel like I truly don't need it. Like, I feel better without it. I felt like shit when I do take it. I enjoy having money. I enjoy building my credit up. I enjoy feeling better about myself. And it's just like, you know, that's a crutch. And sure, I smoke chronic every single day, like, constantly.
Who doesn't?
Yeah. So like, I still have my crutches, but it's like, you have to look within and challenge yourself. Like, you don't have to have a rehab. You don't have to have a psychiatrist. You have to have grit. You have to have an end goal in mind for yourself. You have to do it for yourself. You can't do it for anybody else. And it takes time. And you're going to make mistakes. And you have to give yourself a chance to fuck up and become better than that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, and that's not accepting the fear of not hitting the result 100%. You know, when you're chasing an authentic change and recognizing something deep down in and going, all right, you know, because you have a pattern developed, and breaking that pattern, it's not, you know, it's not an easy thing to do, you know, but I don't know. I think what's found myself, I've just, especially since we've moved out sort of into the semi-country, I'm like addicted to small things now. You know, like, I started a garden in a side porch. I put plastic on the outside and then plastic on the inside. So it's 2x4, so plastic, so double walled.
Get your insulation.
Yeah, dude, it's going great. Like, I have tomatoes that I'll be harvesting in February.
Nice.
And gardening, I've just really fallen back into. Mixing up my own organic compost teas and like making my own soils and all this stuff.
Awesome though, because you're using your hands.
It's simple
you're getting
stuff.
dirty,
yeah,
but you're seeing it happen.
Right, yeah, and you're just, you know, that house has been a major blessing for myself because it's just constantly. I mean, you know, I struggle at the end of every year because those 2 weeks with Christmas and New Year's, my work will ramp down significantly because most vendors are liquidating inventory. If you're holding inventory at the end of the year, you got to pay taxes on it. So rarely are people buying. So as a salesperson, I have to be respectful and slow down a bit. So it's not really like, yes, 2 weeks, you know, I'm kind of like, what do I do? Mm-hmm. I went to Home Depot on a whim and dug through the scratch and dent bin and brought home a bunch of treated wood and randomly built like a privacy fence that probably didn't really even need built, but it looks great. But like, you know, that house gives me the opportunity to expend that nervous energy. And I'm curious too, with, you know, all these advances in technology and social media, and we're all driving ourselves crazy, you know, and sometimes city living isn't all that it's cracked up to be, because you're unable to, you know, explore certain things, and cities allow people to get caught up in the mix a little bit more, and being out of the city has really helped me not fall back into old patterns too, but there's something to be said about simple living, but the opposite of that is when people were living super, super simple and like 10 miles from each other, they had their own set of problems.
Well, like the homesteaders.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Where they were like freezing cold all winter and didn't see anyone for 6 months. That had its own set of problems, but like having that healthy mix, kind of like the lifestyle that my wife and I built, has been really healthy for me. She can get along anywhere. She has that energy where, she's easygoing, but having that land to just literally go dig holes when I need to just be moving and not really make sense of what I'm doing has been great.
That's awesome.
That's something I'm going to need long term, I think, because I'm a pretty anxious person. When I'm not working, when I'm not podcasting, I need something to do.
Yeah.
I don't do well with just sitting around.
Right.
I can do it on Sundays watching sports, but being out in the countryside, man, I try to do as much as I can. I grew up in the woods, and anytime I can get away, whether it's an Airbnb or doing camping, fishing, I feel the best when I return from those escapes.
Yeah.
And just getting away from all this bullshit. And just resetting, smelling the trees, like what Wild Outdoor Adventures does, getting you outdoors. It's something that I've started to, take for granted, being in the city life and getting caught in this concrete jungle and the hustle and bustle, constantly going from A to B. I need to get outdoors. In the future, I want to be separated. I want to be outdoors. I want to be in the mountains or the plains or the countryside. That's where I want to reside eventually, on a piece of land where I can blow shit up, dig holes. I need that.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have a piece of land with like, like 5 acres or something, or maybe more, whatever. And there's like a little river going through it, and like trees around the river.
Perfect.
And like you got fields in front of that.
That's perfect.
That sounds great. Like I've been watching these meditative things on Netflix, and I've tried to practice some meditating here and there, but one thing that they were talking about when starting to meditate is you just think of like the place that makes you happy, and that could be a forest, that could be a field, that could be a house, and you just think of the place that makes you happy, and it should come to you just easily. Like you should maybe see it now, and it's just like getting back to things like that, and appreciating things like that. Like that's what life should be about, is appreciating getting your hands dirty, getting your tomatoes on. It's about the small things, because brushing your teeth, that's a part of life, and that's a small thing. But if you can take all the small things and find gratitude within those actions, and find appreciation for what you're doing, regardless of what you're doing, but do something. If you're sitting in front of a computer all the time at work, and then you watch YouTube after work or Netflix, and you don't give yourself a break, like that's artificial. Like the world spins without TVs. Like we don't need that, and it's important to disconnect from that. And it's okay to have social media, but it's at least give yourself like 30 minutes of going on a walk or something, just to disconnect.
Just like, anything in moderation, kind of thing.
Disconnect a little bit. I tell you, so I want to come back to meditation and get your thoughts on it, because I've never clicked with meditation.
I haven't either.
I'm terrible in yoga classes. I actually get fired up and angry in yoga.
Okay.
I do. It's weird.
All right.
But the one piece before we lose the train of thought, where you said have appreciation, the one thing I've been trying to practice past couple of months, because I think we've talked about positivity washing in our conversations before, and I think that in itself can drive people crazy, and touching now into the social media where you constantly see it, like, be positive, be positive. What I've tried to do as of late, several months is, I'll have a thought where, I'll have to go out and, go to the grocery store. It's 5 p.m., long day, but we got to hit the groceries quick. And in my head, I'm like, oh man, fucking groceries. And then I come back into my head and I go, and I'm blessed to have to do this goddamn chore. And I'm not afraid to say that in my head, the goddamn chore. I'm blessed to do, finding acceptance in something that irritates the shit out of you, and having it be okay to be irritated, but going, I'm blessed to have this. And that way you're not like, because I think positivity washing is driving some people crazy, because they're like, oh, well, I'm upset that I have to go get groceries, and I should feel great that I have the money to go get them, but I never do, so I failed. No. Hey, I'm stoked that my wife and I have enough money to have groceries, and we have a pantry full of groceries, but going grocery shopping is another thing you have to do. But I'm blessed to live in the first world to even be able to go get the groceries, so it's okay that it drives me nuts. I've recognized I like it. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I've been trying to do that with stuff lately too.
Appreciate your challenges.
Yeah. I mean, the one dog has a bum ACL, so we got to get surgery. So we have to do exercises with them 2-3 times a day now. So I'll be like, oh my gosh, it's 7 o'clock. I forgot to do it. Got to knock this out. But I'm blessed to have the dog and dang on ACL. And at least, being frustrated with something is fine, but also recognizing that, hey, you're blessed to even have this to be frustrated about, where I think some people get lost in that and they're constantly like, all right, well, next time I'll be better because I won't be frustrated with it. Well, let me tell you something. You go to work 8-10 hours and you have to go get groceries. You're going to be frustrated with it. But at least know that you're blessed enough to have the ability to do a frustrating errand. And I think that can help slowly change a mindset for the better.
Sure. I think, repetition, of course, being the mother of skill. It's something I still have to work on because I get extremely frustrated. I've struggled with anger problems for a long time. I've gotten a lot better at it. The older I've gotten, I compartmentalize what am I really getting angry about? What's worth getting angry about? Yeah. And I still get angry over stupid shit. Angry to the point where I'll, throw things, break things. And then the second that happens, I catch myself going, was that really worth it? Is this going to matter in a week, like what Alex said to me when he was on a couple weeks ago? And no, 97% of the time, the shit I get angry about is meaningless stuff. Yeah. It means nothing. So I try to, and Jocko Willink, I've quoted him a few times on here. He has a motivational podcast, and he dropped a segment of good. Anytime when things are going bad, you've probably seen it. Yeah. There's going to be some good that comes out of it. Right. And I constantly try to remind myself of that, and it's a process, but I'm getting there. Yeah, no, that's a great way to kind of phrase what I kind of stumbled over there. So similar to what Jocko does, shit, I got to jump in my car and, because for us going to get groceries is a 20-minute drive to even get to the grocery store. But so similar to just saying good after it. Yeah, what you're about to do may irk you, and it may be frustrating, and it may take some time, but hey, good. Hey,
at least you got a car and you're not walking.
Yeah, right, totally, because I've had to do that before. I'm the guy with the DUI where, I had to walk for groceries for 6 months.
And then in that case, you can only grab what you can carry. Right. Like opposed to what your vehicle can do. Yeah, so totally. I talked about this when you were on last time. And it kind of has to do with what we're talking about. I was saying how sometimes I'll take off my pants, and it really frustrates me. Yeah, because my foot pulls the pant leg inside out, and then Mike says he's like, well, why don't you change the way you take off your pants? Yeah, right. and so I've been thinking about that any single time it happens. Yeah.
Well, let's get an update.
Maybe I didn't change the way I take off my pants, but it doesn't frustrate me nearly as much.
That's great.
Because I that little conversation, it's like, is that worth getting frustrated about? Now I just let it go inside out and I fix it later.
Right, and that's because we were having discourse and I just didn't swear at you online through my keyboard and tell you I hate you because you wear pants. You know what I mean? See how much we made progress.
It did, but I wanted to let you know, I've been thinking about that whenever it happens. I'm like, Mike said, change the way I take off my pants. And if I'm not willing to do that, then
I wear kind of skinny pants, so they're always kind of a pain to take off. So, it's like,
for sure.
You gotta work on that. But so meditation, I tell you, I sit there in yoga or meditation and it just makes me angry. Like that sitting still portion of it. And breathe and you'll be calm. And I'm like, I'm not calm and I'm getting less calm by the second. It just spins me up. How are you doing with meditation?
Well, I mean, it's something that I used to stretch a lot. And I would consider that a meditative thing because it's about letting go a little bit and just focusing on your breath. And just even though that might frustrate you or focusing on that thought or it's just... It's a way to decompress, and it's something I want to practice more because it's healthy. We all carry baggage. We all get pissed off in traffic. We all think that this person could, portray it differently or whatever, and that's all stress that we carry. And so even if you're not meditating and having a clear conscience, but I feel like it's important to have a moment with your own thoughts and digest everything. I'm a critiquer. I overanalyze. I think 45 minutes after I lay down to bed, I'm just nonstop thinking about the whole day, what happened, how did this conversation go, how did I handle that, oh crap, I forgot to do this, and I'll do that next morning first thing. But it's we need to become friends of ourselves. And with technology, with social media, with all these distractions, we're getting away from ourselves. And we need to bring it back, because the better we treat ourselves, the better will be for everybody else. And
do you think we've seen recently, past couple of years, maybe the equivalent of mommy daddy issues, but ourselves issues manifesting themselves outwardly onto other people?
I think a lot of people project.
I think that's a fair assessment. I do. I feel like a lot of people, going back to the, people do more to avoid pain than they do to gain pleasure. They feel like, the world revolves around them kind of thing. I think that mentality is really starting to surface, social media giving them an outlet to do it. But it's like, look, buddy, I have a situation here. Can you give me a little room? That's kind of the mentality I'm starting to see with people, is whatever they're dealing with, it's like we now have to adjust the way we handle our lifestyle to accommodate it, rather than, well, what's really going on here?
I've heard that be called the oppression Olympics before, or competitive victimhood.
Okay.
Are two ways that I've heard some people describe folks on the more extreme ends of that comment.
Okay.
Where, hey, I'm a victim and you have to realize that, and if you don't accommodate it, then here's big ugly terms that I throw at you.
Yeah.
And again, we're just hammering social media tonight, but hey, it's great. Hey, maybe there's one person out there who needs to hear this and they'll get off social, because I know the suicide rates are through the roof right now, and I mean there's multiple factors to that, but you would have to assume social media is a driving factor in that. So I would love to see more people abandon it. We've loosened up social as a priority for Mountain Made significantly this year.
How has that affected sales at all? Or
no, not at all.
Yeah, so
good.
Not at all.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
I just think that social media, in a lot of cases has ran or is running its course, and it's either got to re-evolve, or I just don't know. But we love the mob, and they're still doing a great job, and but we just have leaned away from it as a company, not putting too much pressure on social media, put a ton of money into SEO to just get clicks on the website, and still putting up a decent message on social media, but not, no one's looked at it or answered it or anything in almost a year, and we're fine with that, because in a way it's kind of our message, like, hey, you can have a life without social media. We are, both of the owners of the company are.
Yeah.
You can too, and that's okay. And maybe we just need to be on that leading edge a little bit, because we are a health and wellness brand, and I just wasn't finding it to be healthy anymore. My wife's off of it too now. She had some close friends and family that were just, again, people saying things
Just being
without
toxic.
recognizing that their inner circle may be what they're saying, and they're saying it in such an emotional and hyperbolic way that it's hurtful, So the Pachan house is off the social.
That's great, man. I really do. And I would join you on that. And I pretty much have, in the sense where my personal accounts I don't mess with.
Yeah.
I have them. I can access them. I look at them. But if it wasn't for the podcast, I wouldn't have them. I just wouldn't, And we, in this business, with reaching people via, stream services,
Yeah.
YouTube, it's such a staple to be able to have that platform to be heard on. We're on all the social media platforms for that reason. But I see it, man. On my personal accounts, I can say I unfollow everybody. I don't follow anybody. I'll be friends with them, but I'm not following them.
Yeah.
So I don't see the nonsense. I'm just there to say I'm here, but I'm not really trying to play into the propaganda, to your opinions, to whatever it is you're trying to sell me, kind of thing.
Sure.
So I feel like you're doing God's work when it comes to social media, because with that, like, DCPC, Discussion Combustion, we've built this thing to be bigger than Kevin and I. It's about you, Mike. It's about the last guest, the next guest. It's a platform for anyone to come and talk on. And by us having a presence, it helps. It helps a little bit. It brings a little bit of light to that. So like, let's just scrutinize a little bit. Like, let's be critical about what our newsfeed are. Maybe stop following ridiculous stuff. Like, come on, we all know what the ridiculous stuff is that comes on the feed. Like, let's treat ourselves right by getting garbage out of our minds. Because this is the thing, is like, while you're on that and you're going through it, you're feeding your brain, whether you know it or not. Like, your subconscious is obtaining this information. And so if you want to treat yourself right, then, it's like the company you keep. Like, the company you keep, your 5 best friends shows who you are, or whatever that statement is. Like, so it's, I'm not going to completely shun it because there's some positive there, but the whole people wearing filters, putting this fake projection of perfection, and people trying to live up to that and feeling depressed and maybe causing suicide, that's a lot of negative with it. But, you know, so I challenge everybody out there, anybody who has a channel, anybody who has an influence online, challenge yourself to look at your own stuff that you put out for people to digest, because you're feeding these people. Like, challenge your own material and make it so you're helping people. Like, I feel like we have an obligation of that as DCPC, and I feel like everybody out there that is an influencer or channel guy, like, you have that. It's an obligation, and maybe you don't know that yet, but it's, if you want a better tomorrow, you want to help people, then do the right thing. And you know, you might lose some listens at first, but like, you'll gain morality. And you know, how we feel inside is important, you know, like, because we're our worst critics. We're all our worst critics. And if you're comparing yourself to other people that aren't even real, then it's like, you're not giving yourself any leg up. And it's, I don't know, dude, we could totally talk about this all night.
Sure.
It's just one of those things that affects everybody.
Yeah, no, it is, and it's an interesting topic. And again, we agreed before we started the show, you know, to keep it, you know, poly neutral, which I think is wonderful, because there's enough non-neutral poly conversations right now. But the social media, as we've seen the past couple of years, and I keep saying that, and really what I mean the past 4 years when I say the past couple of years, and then especially since March with COVID, we've just seen, you know, the impacts of social more. It's amplified, the amplification of it. And, you know, I think that talks about social media and how to reconstruct it so it's better is needed at this point. It almost reminds me, social media at this point reminds me of snake oil salesmen. You know, back in the day when people were like, drink this, it'll cure this and it'll do that, and it was just people hustling bullshit and making money.
People bought it.
Yeah, and social media at this point, whether you're an influencer or just someone on there being lonely, you're peddling snake oil most of the time. You know, we regulated companies so that they couldn't sell harmful products. I'm not saying we should regulate social media necessarily. I'm just saying, you know, if people self-regulated, or there was a group or a powerful influencer who, you know, because it's almost gotten to where it's bullyism now, and, you know, a strong light came in and said, this is really how you social. We need that next wave of what social media is going to do for society, because it's just gotten out of control. I mean, last time we were on, I was telling you guys how, like, you know, CBD is in a certain aspect of the market similar to soda and cereal, and how those weren't really a big thing. And then once they got to be a big thing, everyone sold cereal, but under the wrong context. And same with soda. And again, they were snake oil. And then the market saw it for being a snake oil and it collapsed. But then the market was like, oh man, that sweet soda still tastes good. Just sell it to me as soda. And those brands made it. And the cereal brands made it. I think we're almost at that evolution with social media where it was like CBD, where it's like, it's God's gift for everything. And it's not. Social media is not God's gift to everything. I would hope that maybe it's collapsing so that people can see it as what it is. And then the true usage of social media, you know, evolves from that. It's hard to say because it's utilized so much and it's so lifestyle based.
And also all the bots.
Right, and the bots, and that's crazy as well to think.
Because
yeah,
you
right.
have
They've
all
taken
these
over
bots.
profiles.
Yeah, so it's not even a lot of these things that are propaganda.
It's artificial
aren't
intelligence.
Even people.
Yeah, what do they call it? Deep fake, where
Deep
they
fake.
don't even know if
Yeah.
it's a real picture or
That's
a real
gonna-
video.
That'll continue to be a security issue.
The
I
bots
think,
are
from
having
here to
almost
come.
real conversations. It's almost difficult. You know, you used to be able to tell because they would forget like a the or an a.
Right.
And you'd be like, wait a second, that's not
Yeah.
even proper.
You could pick it
anything.
out.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's going to get more difficult. It's such an interesting piece of our society.
It is. And the thing is that, you know, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, these are private companies,
Right.
right? They're privately owned. They have to, you know, they do have shareholders. They obviously trade publicly, but it's a private company. So they, you know, in theory can dictate who and who doesn't post on there. So when people get pissed off, oh, well, I'm being censored here and this and that. and I have to check myself in that a lot because I'll say the same thing and I'll defend the First Amendment. But the fact remains, these are private companies and they do hold the right to say, fuck off. We're not going to let you do this. We're not going to let you do that. There's other places where your message can be heard.
Right.
Yep. And
I mean, Facebook isn't the only communication platform out there.
Right.
But that addiction piece is like, you don't want to be at the not rowdy house party. Like everyone wants to be at that house party, and that, that's a decision people make every day.
Yep.
So it's interesting, but I would think that it's, man, friends of ourselves, that's 2021's quote right there, right? We can all just be a little bit friendlier to ourselves, be better friends with yourself.
Yeah.
That's the piece we need this year.
Yeah, if you're not, like, I'm talking to myself here, if you're not a friend of me, then you're my enemy, and I'm battling my whole life. So let's be good to ourselves, and let's like I was saying at the beginning, let's be hard on ourselves, and let's challenge ourselves. Because, dude, okay, so we got a Peloton recently, and I gained all this weight with my ankle injury. I know Kevin's dad's gonna mention how I always mention that, but but I gained a lot of weight during that, and I was starting to feel a little lull in my attitude and my appearance, how I feel, and I challenged myself. Like the second we got it. We've had it almost 4 weeks, and I've missed 4 days. And a lot of those days, I don't want to ride. And a lot of those days, while I'm riding, I want to calm down. But what I do is instead of decreasing the resistance, I put it up.
Nice.
And I stand and I take the burn, dude. And it's part of it. Like it's if it's easy, then it's not worth it. And that's the thing. And I'm applying that to so many other areas of my life because I want the challenge. I want to overcome. I want to be the best me. And in order to do that, I have to battle myself, and I have to battle the negativity around me, and battle in a way like you're talking, where I can make my point, but I can make it in a calm, direct manner. I don't have to scream it. And that's another thing that I want to do is make calm points. Let's take this opportunity to look within ourselves, because we're our worst critics. And if we make it and we know that we made it, then you don't got anything to prove to anybody else. And then at that point, you don't care what anybody else thinks, because you made it to yourself. And I feel like that's a powerful position to be in, because not only you don't have a pedestal to get kicked off of, but then also your drive, your motivation, your push is going to motivate people around you, because you're doing it in a genuine way for positive impact on yourself. And so it's okay to be a little selfish,
That's
let's
when
look in.
I hit some of my peaks in fitness. Was I was channeling what I didn't like about where I was in life through staying busy in fitness, and I would really push myself and kind of beat myself up through fitness. And that's where I hit some of my best strides. And I found what's interesting, the better I've gotten overall in life, the less drive I have in fitness. So now I'm coming back around to have to push myself harder to stay fit, because I don't have that angst energy to pour into my fitness. I'm like, man, I'm feeling great.
Yeah,
so
true.
It's an interesting
Yeah,
part.
so once you get there, how do you maintain that is what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it's been interesting. I mean, and I lean on my wife a lot, because, she's just a really good energy, good soul. When I was, really struggling, trying to find myself as an entrepreneur, and I wanted to be self-employed, and I wasn't, and then, I was doing dumb things with substances, and then I would just push myself in these absurd fitness situations, like going huge, to just try and destroy myself. And, it's been a balance. When we were first getting the companies going and they were doing well, I fell probably the farthest away from fitness that I ever have, but I was doing small maintenance stuff to keep up. And, recently I've just really hammered home a solid stride back into it. And I think I'm at a balanced place now where I'm like, oh, all right, cool. Work is stable, home is stable, and I'm feeling that stability again. And I don't want to say I'm getting fit this year, because it sounds like a New Year's resolution, and I really don't do that. I check in with myself periodically, but I'm feeling it this year. Like I'm excited to really explore fitness more than I have in the years, past 2 or 3 years where I've kept good and I've maintained, but I'm like interested to take it to a level again this year, and I can kind of feel that brewing right now. So again, it's just kind of cyclical and being easy about knowing you're in a cycle. I mean, I gave up some time being fit to pour into remodeling a house we just bought is a challenge because I'd never really done that before. And, if you're laying floors on the weekend, you can't be out trail running. You might be able to squeeze in a little run in the morning, but like that focus that you have to get into a job like that to really do it right, especially if you don't know what you're doing, that would draw away from that bandwidth to like go crank out a 12-mile run. So my run's 3-mile run rather than a 12-mile run. 3-mile run and laying floors.
12-mile run, how long would that take? An hour?
No, I mean a 12-mile run, what do you run in between 7 and 9 minute miles? So
You're speedy.
I used to be speedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That must have been a snow run.
Yeah.
I remember you.
I love snow runs.
No,
I've been on a couple
say.
snow runs, and I've thought of you. I've been like, Arthur would get a kick out of this. I got, like screamo metal going, and it's peace and quiet out.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that when you were on last March, the episode that got
heavy
yanked
metal
down.
and snow.
You talked about that. And I
'cause we were
pictured that.
smoking weed on the episode.
You were running here, and the feeling the snow crunching between your feet, but you got that heavy. Yeah. Anytime I do running, it's gonna have to be to that.
Yeah.
And I don't do running,
But I think if you pour this challenge into, really owning that sobriety and into fitness and just letting that out through that bike, that's a great step.
Yeah, I mean,
I used to do that with running all
dude,
the time.
I've held myself down long enough, and it feels good to be in this position, but I know it was a long, hard road, and Kevin knows my girl knows it was a long, hard road. My family knows that, and I'm fortunate to have had this positive mentality through it and accepted the struggle, so.
What do you think? Let me ask this question. I know I'm asking a lot of questions tonight, but maybe it's helpful again to a listener. I had a great 2020, both my wife and I, and together as a couple, we had a great 2020. We decided in March that, just right away, we saw it for what it was. It was going to be a challenge. We didn't buy into any of this 15-day garbage. We were this thing is here to stay for a while. We saw it for what it is, and that's our own interpretation of what it is. Everyone has their own. We just got after it. And, we had a couple of peaks and valleys. You always do in stressful situations, but we had a great year. What did you do? It's interesting to hear you say that you had such a good year in 2020 because, between alcohol or opiates, a lot of people had a bad year. So what did you do this year to come out of the end of 2020 and say I had a great year? What was it?
Well,
multiple items.
I'm going to give some credit to Kevin here because, I've always had a creative itch and wanted to make music and be a creator of some sort. So pulling me into this podcast, believing in me as a co-host and our friendship with this, the growth that it's had, the impact that the podcast has had, that's been a huge growth for me. But, we were drinking heavy, in March and April and May. We were pounding fucking Crown and Cokes, dude, and we were putting it back. We were literally drinking our stress with this,
right? And a lot of people did. I did that a bit too.
Yeah,
March and April. Yeah,
but it's I don't know. 2020 was a long time coming for me. This year wasn't good because of this year. It was good because I'd been working toward this year for the last 4 years.
Yeah, nice.
And it just happened to all come together, and for that I'm fortunate. I'm blessed for that, man. And
from an energy standpoint, if you were open to it, 2020 was all about dissolving the ego, and allowing openness to come into your life and accepting it. So it's interesting that you were able to kind of tap into that knowingly or unknowingly.
It's life is just thoughts in our brain, everyone perceives it differently. Everyone has a different view of reality, and we're all important. And, to think that like drugs made me better, that was a fallacy that I had for a long time. And I believe in that. I thought, you know, I'll take a couple pills and I'm going to sell harder. You know, it's going to make me better. And that was a fallacy in thought process. And, you know, it's like challenging myself. And it's like I keep saying, this is good for this episode for me because it shouldn't be easy. And I'm going to keep preaching that. Like, if you want to make a change in your life, like you want to do something different, you want to feel accomplished, then it's going to be hard. And you need to accept that. You need to accept the fact that Kevin and I, we're over here trying to push this podcast every week. Occasionally the software is just going to go kaput, and we're going to have to overcome that. And like, or something happens. Like, something's always going to happen. So I really took on the fact and accepted the fact, that problems are a part of life. And I've known that for a long time, but it like really came home this year, what my problems were and how they are a part of my life. And it's just about really accepting your issues. Like, because I feel like so many people want to act like they don't have the problem. Like I'm not an alcoholic, or, you know, I don't, you know, over glorify this, or, you know, we want to act like it's not an issue. But like, truly, we can all be better. Even the best person in the room can be a better version of themselves. We can always work to be better. And I was sick and tired of being mundane and letting it happen. And that's really what made it click for me, was just like, I was just tired of repeating the same fucking mistakes. Like, I'm tired of the same mistakes. And the only thing that could change is what I choose to do. You know, even if the problems still come up, maybe I handle it better. You know, it's time to, you know, it's a merry-go-round. It's going to keep going around and around unless you jump off of it. And then you look at it from the outside and you just see the shit spin, and you're like, you know, there's a lot more than just that merry-go-round. I don't know if that analogy makes sense or not, but dude, I could monologue all night on this shit because it's true to me, man. And I feel a lot of passion toward this because I struggled for a long time, you know, and it feels good to kind of be like Rocky, you know, like you're fighting and you keep fighting, you know. So let's be Rocky. That's what I'm saying.
How was 2020 for you?
2020 was it was a good year, man.
Yeah.
I feel like it was a good year. You know, there's a lot of struggles around us, a lot of people obviously dealing with different things, close proximity to me. But for me personally, I thought it was a terrific year.
Yeah.
It really solidified my love for my lady. You know, our relationship grew stronger.
Nice. It's great to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things are great, man. You know, my family, you know, everyone's healthy. You know, the podcast has been tremendous. I feel very fortunate to be in the position that I'm in and have met some great people and had great conversations. So for me, you know, I don't look at 2020 as a bad year. You know, on a bigger spectrum, maybe. But for me, sure, I learned a lot. I grew. And that's what I want to keep doing. You know, every situation that we get faced with, you know, is a learning opportunity for me. You know, backpedaling off I have alcohol issues. You know, I've dealt with that. I did Sober October, completed that challenge.
Yeah. How was Sober October?
Man, how was it? It went good.
Yeah.
It went good. You know,
You did full?
I went the distance.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? That's not true. I didn't go the distance. I made it to the 30th, which was the Halloween party.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So I didn't go the whole month of October.
That's still a success, though.
Yeah.
But I made it the distance.
99.9.
Yeah.
Cool.
It was good. You know, I leaned on a little bit of Mountainmade CBD to get me through it.
Nice.
You know,
I
needed
take the edge off a little bit.
Yeah, I needed my Build Boost Recover to get me through the day.
It's interesting how the CBD kind of fills in some of those receptors of need.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I always say is what I've learned about CBD is it's not necessarily what you feel, it's what you don't feel.
Right. Yeah,
You know?
totally.
Those kind of
100%,
hidden, because you talked about this the first time you were on our show was, you know, kind of those some people feel euphoria from it. You know, some people don't feel anything at all.
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of people have an expectation they should feel something. So
Yeah, right.
for me,
I tell people all the time, if you're at a point where you just don't think CBD isn't working anymore, stop for 3 days and you'll go, oh, it was. You just baselined you.
Sure.
We get you high. CBD baselined you.
Yeah, and a lot of people probably are expecting a THC kind of feeling from it, or some sort of.
I really leaned into that super high dose over all this. I mean, I'm taking 500, 600, 700 milligrams a day right now, and have for probably since the last time we talked.
Yeah,
man, it's been great.
Feel good.
I feel great.
Yeah,
just functioning at my greatest capacity.
Yeah, I definitely notice the benefits, man, for sure. I mean, I don't just say that because, we're pals and we push your product. I truly can feel the difference. Yeah. And especially during times like Sober October, because I do rely on alcohol, it's one of those things for me. I still haven't compartmentalized my addiction with it, because I do think there is some addiction there, but I also think it's more of a habit and just a routine. Like, I'm home from work, time to start drinking. Yeah. It's not like I need to drink to function, but it's become such a habit. So with the absence of it during October, feeling the CBD, being here and there kind of thing, clear mind, I think that's where I feel like I don't need alcohol to perform my day-to-day essentials, but I like alcohol to go along with those things. Yeah. Like having your cake and eating it too kind of thing. Right. But in due time, I am starting to see some health declines from it. There is going to be some changes that probably will have to come sooner than later. And, I'm just riding the wave, man. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing out of my routine that I flexed on this year, and especially since March, was having beers during the week, which normally I just don't do. And that was part of sort of recovery for me, was just like knocking that completely out. Like, I had to do that for a while, and then once I got into the habit, I was like, oh, this is great, but this year, just being a little flexible with the year, which I think, again, to a certain extent, you have to kind of go with the flow a little bit, and stay flexible, because each year is a little bit different, or maybe the month's different. So I just found, during the course of some of this year, I'd be like, you know what, it's 2020. I'm gonna have a little bit of fun on Tuesday, and I'm not going to stress about it. Crack a couple beers, have 2 or 3, wake up Wednesday and go, not going to be my best Wednesday, but you know what? Oh, well. Got to own it. Yeah. And just keep giving myself that, space to do it. And, it didn't really have any negative result. But again, I don't know, just something about my gut feeling so far this year. I think I would love to have a really intense internal introspective year, and just really dial back in, drill back down.
I'm kind of curious about, when you have those quiet meditative moments of just your breath, like why that evokes frustration with you.
Like, I'm the guy in yoga that I'll be like, fuck.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of a yoga class.
But why do you think?
I don't know. I just,
because it stems from somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know. You put me like my headphones on, screamo metal, running uphill, and I'm in that space that you're supposed to hit when you meditate. There's something about like demanding the calm just raises the voices. It just doesn't. It just doesn't work. Yeah. And I know, and I've even, chatted with people where they're like, yeah, but that running and stuff, like, you're ramping up, so there's an intensity behind it, but I just find like a flow state in it, where that's really where it's like calm and at peace through that motion. And then if I decrease that motion, it just, there's no peace to it. I don't know. I guess it's a little hard to explain. And it's not like I don't say, oh, I'm going to meditate, so I have to get upset. Man, I've tried. Like, I had a yoga pass for a while, and I was like, I'm going to do this. It was right around 2014, 15 when I was just really dedicated to hitting that small business. And I was like, well, maybe I'll try yoga and just really get in there and focus and think. And man, it drove me crazy. It was frustrating to me. Just couldn't do it.
I the same way. We've talked about meditation a few times throughout the course of this podcast, and people have given me different advice on how to do it, where to start, beginner, meditation. It goes back to me trying to sleep sober, as bad as this sounds again. Which I can do with the help of Recover and some other
let's
things.
talk about chamomile after.
We will.
A point.
Because I do struggle with sleep. My girlfriend will tell you I'm a pretty bad sleeper. But a few beers or a shot of whiskey, I'll sleep every time. I won't necessarily stay asleep, but I will be able to fall asleep. So when I try to meditate, when I've gotten myself in that position, the fireplace is on, music's right, I've tried different things. And the same thing happens to me when I try to begin meditation as to when I lay down to go to sleep sober, is the carnival starts in my head. I start to hear the music. I start to replay this conversation. Stupid shit that I did 15 years ago. I'm like, what an idiot. I can't believe I did that. Just weird shit will start coming up in my head when I try to do meditation.
Yeah.
So
That's okay. That's okay. That's part of it.
But it becomes discouraging me at that point. So I guess I can relate to your anger from it.
Discouraging. Maybe that's the right word. I just become discouraged in it because I just can't hit that. There's like not, and I don't want to say it's like the challenge isn't the challenge that I adhere to, because meditation is challenging, yoga's super challenging, but it's just not a challenge that I'll engage and hit that challenge. Like they talk about the runner's high, and some people never experience a runner's high because running just sucks so bad to them. They just dislike it the whole time, and they get done with their mile and they're like, I don't know how people do that. Running's so stupid. Well, let me tell you something. Most runners, the first mile sucks. It's running. Your runner's high comes after that first mile for myself, if not a lot of people. If you understand a runner's high, you know how to get into it. I can't hit that space with meditation and yoga because I just never make it past that first mile of meditation and yoga. I just can't bust through that wall to get into that flow state.
So the whole, it's like mindfulness or something like that on Netflix. It talks about meditation. It's kind of cool. I've been checking it out. It's worth calming yourself down to because they kind of talk you through it. But doing this dry January thing, obviously I failed at that. I'm not staying dry this whole month, but I am trying to decrease the amount that I drink. I would like to get to a point where you were, where it's not really during the week. And maybe just podcast nights, maybe just the weekends, but I want to dial it back, and that's me making a promise to myself in Sober October. I wanted to create healthy habits. But one thing that I noticed when I would be, more sober-minded and stuff is I'll before bed, I would make it a cup of Sleepy Time tea, which has chamomile in it. And so you did introduce that into the recovery recently.
Yeah.
And
I love it.
Yeah. Why did you choose to add that?
So we've had some feedback on the Magnolia, where the Magnolia for some people can really intensify REM.
I've experienced it.
Yeah. It's almost nightmarish. It's sort of like a burst of pent-up anxiety just goes whoosh, and people wake up and they go, wow, I've never dreamed like that before. And I hadn't had it, came home from our honeymoon, and I didn't take any CBD or weed to Costa Rica with me. So, after 10 days, all my levels were dropped. I came home the first 2 nights and took the Recover Magnolia and freaked out. Just totally had that experience that some of the customers had. And I was like, whoa, and at the same time, we had started R&D on a couple other products with some terpenes that were sedative. So I got into that because I like taking something at night to just guarantee I go to bed. It's just comforting. So after the terpenes ran up, I was ordering more ingredients, and I was like, well, I'll just grab some chamomile. And we pressed some R&D up, and it's so nice. It definitely does not hold that same value that the Magnolia can have for some folks, where it just can really intensify, almost like an anxiety dump, where some people that Magnolia just unlocks, and just a watershed moment of like, the chamomile is real mild and real easy. And man, I'm taking one of those at night regularly now, and I'm like, wow, this is it.
So let me ask you this then.
Wonderful.
So is Recover now strictly with chamomile, or is Magnolia?
No, we're
so you still
offering
have
both. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we just expanded the line.
That's okay, and that's what I thought. I wasn't
Yeah,
sure.
and the chamomile will launch probably next week. The labels just came hot off the press. We're bottling it up this week.
I'm ready,
so
man.
We'll launch it.
We were trying to get that when we were getting the combats and whatnot. We were gonna.
Yeah, and the combat's new as well with the immunity boost.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we like the lineup. I mean, goddamn, Mike, from since you first came on, the growth that we've seen from you had the build.
The build, right?
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and we're launching the elderberry line next week with the
Oh,
chamomile too, which is wonderful. So I've been taking that too. So the Combat has daily servings of vitamin A, C, D3, E, and zinc. Those are daily servings. If anyone's paying attention to what some folks are saying you can take if you feel sick, take 5 to 10 tablets, and that will hit those peak levels. So 90 milligrams of vitamin C per tablet. Some physicians are saying 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C if you don't feel good, 50 milligrams of zinc, that would be 10 tablets. So we designed it where, you don't want to take that high of a dose of vitamin C or zinc consistently, but taking, one a day is giving you a sufficient daily dose. But then if you're like, I'm just not feeling good, take 3 to 5. I've experienced that twice now since we've had Combat where I'm like, man, am I starting, how you can kind of feel a little bit of sickness coming on? I take 3 to 5 twice a day, and within that next day, I'm like feeling spry again. I think the vitamin D3 is really nice addition too.
Yeah.
And then the elderberry is 150 milligrams of elderberry extract per tablet.
I love elderberry.
Which is a massive dose of elderberry too.
Yeah. Good immune boost, though, for sure.
Elderberry's great. A lot of
Yeah.
good vitamins and trace minerals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like elderberry. And it's good flavor, too.
Yep. So Combat, Defense,
Sounds like the wisest of berries.
Recover, elderberry, wiseberry. Yep, because it's an elder. Those 3 products we're rolling them out. And then we have one that we're going to work on and tweak just a hair. It's a fizzy, and we've dialed the taste in so it bubbles in your mouth.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so I've talked with Kevin about this because we'll take a boost before we start, then we'll have a beer, and we've kind of compared it to a Mentos going into Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
And now you're introducing the fizzy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The fizzy. I don't think I brought them in. I think they're in my car. But yeah, it's a cool where you can crack it and it'll fizz and it has a really clean flavor profile. I worked a lot this year in the lab really trying to dial in a really, really flavorful chewable, and just to be honest, really couldn't get it done. There's an art behind it. I did take off and flew to Missouri for 3 days and went to a tableting conference and learned a frickin' ton about our machine and how to take care of a machine, how to dial it in, how to redo all your tooling. So our machine-to-machine skills are super next level. They do offer a Formula Class 2 that I think I'll probably jump in this year. And I'm talking people that have been doing this 30, 40, 50 years are breaking it down into super simple and just spoon-feeding you just the hot tips that you need to know. So I think I'm going to go to the Formula one because we would love to get into really tasty chewables. Our chewables, the flavor is good, but we want great.
Of course.
What we did with the Combat, the new Recover, and the Defense, we're marketing them as swallowables. We're adding a flavor essence in them, so when you put them in your mouth and they're kind of on your tongue before you swallow them, you'll get just a hint of flavor.
A little bit of sweetness
I'll,
or
Yeah.
something.
I'll still chew the Combat, honestly.
Yeah, the way I've been taking it is
Yeah.
I'll pop it in, I'll bite through it until kind of quarter it, and then I'll knock it back that way. Because I wasn't sure if it was
fair
chewable.
bit of flavor to them. I think
Yeah.
the Combat was blood orange is what we
I
went
mean,
with.
they're not
Yeah.
they're not bad.
Little
not
bitter,
bad.
but
little
like
bitter.
like you're saying,
Yeah,
they
they're
taste,
full of CBD.
They taste
So-
like a health product,
Right, exactly.
and it shouldn't
Which is
be
what
like
it is.
this sweet treat. Like
Yeah,
it's a
and that
health
was we
product.
had a client potentially wanted us to co-manufacture some stuff, big contract. We didn't end up getting it, but I was just cranking out R&D after R&D, and it's not sweet enough. It's not, and I said, man, you want daily servings of 6 vitamins and CBD in a chewable tablet? I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, it's not gonna be sweet.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
so
gonna.
the beet sugar gives it the sweetness, right? Is that where you're kind of getting that sweet hit?
Yeah, but I was looking at profiles where it was almost like and I hate to say candy because we're not, but where could we take a flavor profile? And it's with the amount of vitamins and CBD that we have in our product currently with our skill set, we're limited.
Okay.
But it's in the back of my mind where I would love to be able to take our products. I mean, because you think about some of the supplements on the market, like a pre-workout, when it says it tastes like sour apple, it freaking tastes like sour apple. And I think that's cool. So we would love to expand explore that next and just keep working on it. But man, there's an art and definitely a science behind it. So we're just scratched the surface so far, but we're going to keep cranking them out. So we came back to the drawing board and we said, man, we know swallowables all day long. We know, where the market's at and what people want. So then we rolled out the recover, the combat, the new recover, the combat, and the defense like that. Mm-hmm. And now our portfolio is really stacked. We have a lot of good directions.
And the dogs.
And the dogs too. Yeah. The dog's great. So that's a chewable, but dogs, they don't, they'll
eat whatever.
Yeah, they eat all kinds of stuff.
They're like, hey, this bark tastes
Yeah,
great.
this bark is great. But the dogs we're really proud of. It's done really well, and it's been really, really helpful for a lot of the furry friends. And, you just throw it in a bowl of food, and they eat it. So it's super
Throw it in the bowl
simple.
and bam.
Yeah, boom, it's done. You're not feeding them a treat. It's not a high-calorie item. It's not a reward. It's just a repetition item. The Magnolia in the dogs has done wonders for one of our high-drive dogs. That just has... I've been living with that dog for 6 years, and it's like hides in the corner. You give it Magnolia for 2-3 days, and the thing comes out and like lives a real life.
He's ready to rip.
Yeah.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
man.
I mean, the effects of what you're, the CBD. I mean, I'm Team Bob Marley, 420 baby. Like I'm token in the morning. It helps level me out. But like having the CBD like as an extra, as like an extra helper is great. And I'm trying to eat less, and so I'll try to do my like 14-hour fast from when I ate last, or maybe 16-hour fast.
That's what I do.
If I can manage that far, and then I eat a little bit. I might take like a combat or one of the boosts, and I'll do my workout. And by the time I'm done with that workout, everything's hitting me. I take my shower, dude. I feel great, and I know it's not just the CBD, but it's playing a role.
Right.
And
Combination of lifestyle.
Yeah, it's combination
it
therapy.
just feels
Right,
good,
yeah,
man. And
yeah.
and that's the thing is like feeling good about ourselves. Let's do things to help ourselves feel accomplished. And that's
time for
what
Would You Rathers, huh?
That's what any year should be about.
I already know this episode's going all-time high, so I'm going to tell you gents what. I'm going to hit the head. Roll the Would You
Okay.
Rather. I'll be
All
right back.
Yep, let's do it.
Okay.
We got some. That's still a thing, right? Good.
Yeah,
The Would
yeah.
You Rather?
Here, I'll slap the button.
Run the board. We're going all-time
Great.
high on this one,
Great.
so...
Where are we even at? That doesn't matter. So first, would you rather?
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you the challenging one yet. I have a really tough one for you. I
good,
feel like.
good.
All right.
Great.
So first one that we have here is kind of survival based.
Oh,
Okay.
perfect.
So
I'm a bit of a prepper.
would you rather get caught in a flash flood or a snow squall? No shelter around on either situation.
And I'm assuming the flash flood. What's the terrain like?
I mean, it really could be any type of terrain.
Oh man.
Probably a terrain that would have a flash flood.
Yeah. I guess I would probably lean into the snow squall a little bit. The flash flood, just how fast it's moving and how quick you'd have to react and really get on your horse to get to high ground. I feel
Yeah.
like the snow squall, you might have a little bit more time to kind of get your wits about you and figure it out and hunker down.
Yeah.
I feel like a flash flood is instantaneous.
Yeah, I mean, it comes quick, and so it was. Would you rather be caught in a flash flood or a snow squall and there's no shelter?
First question I asked was, what's the terrain like in the flash flood? Because if in your head you're standing right next to a building and you just run up, flash flood all day
No
long.
shelter around.
Oh, see,
I think I'm going to go with the snow squall.
Yeah,
Because
same.
there's probably, depending on where we are, that's going to be contingent on geographical location. Flash floods will ruin the day. It's going to take out your tent. It's going to take out whatever sort of, whatever you have built. It's going to take it out. That's why they always say, you don't build, your shelter within a ravine or somewhere where a flash flood can wreck it. A snow squall, it's going to be difficult, but it is just that, a squall. It will pass. So I feel like you have a better chance at maintaining and preserving your current shelter in a squall than a flash
because
flood.
even if you have a boat in a flash flood, it's still turn that boat over.
Yeah.
So, I'll go with the
then
snow
you got
squall.
debris in the water.
Right.
And I mean, you're gonna get lost in a snow squall. Like, okay, so I was in Vail it was Tuesday before Christmas, and we're just walking around downtown Vail, and all of a sudden there's a fucking snow squall. And like, dude, it's shut down the power for like 90 seconds out there, and like you can't see, and it's blowing, and it's cold, and it's sticking on you.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're gonna freeze. But like, I would still want to, because if you're in a wintry terrain, like obviously you're gonna have gear on. So I would hope that like, if I was snuck in a snow squall, you're probably gonna get lost because there's not gonna have any visibility. But at least like, if there's a flash, so yeah, I think we're unanimous there on. Snow squall it up.
I've been in some snow squalls on 285 and they're rowdy.
Oh yeah.
Driving through a snow squall is super difficult, especially with the blowing snow.
Can't see anything. I mean, visibility is less than 10 feet.
Yeah, and you can't figure out up, down, left, right. You lose that groundedness, like when the snow blows and whips around. I mean, up is down and down is up.
Yeah. It can be very disorienting for sure.
Yeah, super disorienting. Yeah.
Yeah, the snow is unforgiving, man. I mean, epic weather in general is. I've been caught in all kinds of different storms. I've seen, the tropical downpours in the south, the New Orleans, Florida rains. The rain down there is like nothing I've ever seen,
Right.
And then up here in Colorado, we get those crazy squalls and that blowing, blizzard conditions, they call it. But I think going to the would you rather, I think I'd rather take the squall. Because if you're in that situation, like you said, you're probably already going to be having some gear, some coats, some things that you're going to be able to weather the storm. Flash flood will ruin your day.
Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't want to be in that or a landslide. I was going to say landslide, and I just knew no one would.
I
say that.
wouldn't want to be in a snow squall without gear, though, because freezing or freezing to death.
That's a scary
Oh,
situation.
yeah, because it's slow.
Slow.
Yeah.
And
You
just
just
kind
go
of
numb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And cold starts to hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't want to freeze to death. Or so yeah, would you rather burn to death or freeze to death off the top of the
I
fly?
think I would rather freeze to death.
I don't know what would be quicker. I think
I don't know, because burn. Well, we kind of talked about this a little bit before the episode. If you're burning, you probably have pain sensation for
it goes
a little
away.
bit, and then like you lose your pain receptors because
adrenaline.
it's on fire.
Yeah, true.
but yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, either way, pearly gates call for all of us one day. Hopefully, we just fall asleep. So this one was actually a submission. Not too often do I get an extra help on my would you rather.
Would you rather submission? I like it.
So would you rather? And I think I know how you're going to answer this one.
All right.
But would you rather have all the knowledge in the universe, like know everything, and live for another 5 years, or would you rather live another 50 years but be reduced to a simpleton without any knowledge?
50 years. Yeah. And sometimes because I'm like high drive and really on top of myself, I'll have conversations with myself where I'm like, man, some days I just wish I was like unmotivated and dumb.
The whole ignorance is bliss thing.
I
wish
do.
was
Like I
blissful
say
and
that
ignorant.
some days. I'm just like, oh, I wish I was just like, what in my head a waste of space looks like. Like, golly, because it's just like you can be so overwhelming on yourself because you care and you want a result and you just want to do it. And some days I'm like, oh, I just wish I could just turn it all off and just be a lump on
True.
a log. So I would take the 50 years because I think
the long blissful life.
yeah, I mean, 5 years of knowing everything, like that's just got to be overwhelming. I think I'm decently intelligent, but just really driven. And man, that drives me nuts all the time. So I think if you knew everything, it would kind of be like being high drive. And I think, maybe you'd
And
end
what
up
do you
like
do
an
with that?
Emerson where you just collapse under the pressure of that knowledge, I'd be a simpleton for sure. I
Yeah.
think that'd be a fun life.
I think
being
You
simple.
wouldn't know any better.
yeah.
Right, exactly. That's exactly it. Right, yeah.
Yeah, you just kind of
Yeah,
know.
you'd be like, this is awesome. People be like, wow, you enjoy that? You're like, yeah.
Yeah,
great.
This is what I know.
Right.
It's that simple
Yeah,
life.
it's what I know, right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough because I always want to ask questions in these scenarios because like if I know everything, is it absolutely 100% certain that I'm gonna die in 5 years?
Yes.
Because if I know everything, is there a way that I can expand my longevity?
Well, let's just say that medical technology is not up to date with your knowledge.
So that's just, makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
the would you rather has to be kind of black and white, no shades of gray.
Or if you're in the 1400s and you know everything, it might get you burned at the
Yeah.
stake.
yeah,
For sure.
that's true.
Yeah, so if you know everything, how do you use that
Yeah.
power? Like,
Right.
how do you convey that? How do you convince that?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would rather live to 50 years. I think I'd like to see, what's going on. I want to know what's ahead. I'll live that simple life, and go 50 years,
Yeah.
half a century.
That sounds really nice, guys. A nice big 5-acre property,
Right.
With a river
Little cabin
through the
with the
middle,
river,
maybe
yeah.
some trees
Yeah,
there.
a couple of trout.
I'm doing a little
Yeah.
callback, but that sounds nice and blissful.
Yeah.
Of-
Yeah,
I
you
guess-
just talk to a
yeah.
volleyball every day that you put on a tree stump.
I'll
and
call
you
him
got a little-
Wilson,
Yeah.
One of my
You
favorite
just-
movies.
Yeah, right.
That is, I cried when Wilson got lost in the
I bet.
ocean.
That's an emotional moment.
Did anybody
sad,
else
yeah.
cry during that part?
On Castaway?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people did.
Yeah. Wilson.
Yeah,
It's
I
a great
vomited a little bit when he knocked his tooth out of his
Ooh,
Oh,
yeah.
Jesus.
When he's sitting there in the cave and he's counting down like, oh.
Yeah, and you're like, oh.
Oh, man.
And he like
That
passed
was a
out
great
from the
movie.
pain.
What would you take? Super
I-
smart
there-
guy or
honestly,
simpleton?
okay, because like with the knowledge comes responsibility. How do I use that, and how do I help humanity within that 5-year period of time? Like so there's a huge impact that could potentially affect generations upon generations, and then there would be a story told about me afterwards. I might do the selfish route and have the great story of the man who saved humanity and died young. That's what I'm
You're
going
going
with
the 5-year
knowledge.
route?
I'm going with the knowledge.
Cool.
And I'm going with it to better humanity. I'm not going with it to just have a fucking blast for 5 years and know all this shit for no reason. So
Go to Vegas and play
yes.
the odds.
Yeah, you're like winning all this money and shit. No,
It's a
Rain Man it.
5-year bender.
I'm bringing the knowledge to help humanity, and I'm dying as a hero. That's how I'm doing that one. So here's the difficult one for you, Mike. All right. So would you rather give up CBD for life or THC?
Ooh, man, that's hard. That's hard. Man. So my knee-jerk reaction would be to give up the CBD. That's interesting. I like being high. I do. And
Well, of
we've
course,
talked
there's a little
about this
CBD and
before.
THC, right?
Not enough to where it's therapeutic.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Golly jeepers, that's tough. I would say right now in this moment, I would give up CBD before I would give up THC because they're both functional for me. They both give me a better life and lifestyle, but the THC is sort of my drink at night. And it's sort of my, like, sometimes I'll get so high that I kind of freak out, and I'll do it on purpose. I'll be like, well, the wife's cooking
I'm reaching
dinner
paranoia
right now,
stone right now.
and like, or we're just hanging out, we're both just being quiet, and I'll just like really rip the bowl and just grab my book and kind of lay there, and I'm not really reading, I'm just really high, and I like that experience, I do, I enjoy that. It's kind of my, because again, like I have a background doing, recreational drugs, and you do drugs to get high, and then once you do drugs, you challenge yourself to see how high you can get, and it used to be fun. I'm not going to say it wasn't. It's not, I'm not always proud of those situations, and I'm glad I don't do it anymore, but weed gives me that outlet to be like a little squirrely and not feel shitty about myself because, I had a straw up my nose or something. I took it to that level. So I would say overall, if I had to, I would go with the THC because I get the functionality and the lifestyle out of it, but I still, when I'm doing air quotes, I still get that drug experience when I'm feeling that drug experience.
That makes sense.
Make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
spoken as an honest answer, being that you're a CBD man. You know,
Yeah.
that's what Mountainmade's all about. So
Yeah.
that's speaking.
I've been a weed man, too, for 11
Sure.
years, so a little bit of both. But I would say, yeah, because, again, I do chase that dragon, and I'm saying that lightly and teasing, a little. I mean, weed is, alcohol is alcohol, but, like, weed, you can still get high. Like, you can still sort of have a drug
you have an impairment.
Periods. Yeah. So I would go that route because I still enjoy that from time to time.
Yeah, that's a good one, Art. I didn't know you were going to throw that one out there. I think I'll take the same answer for the same reason. I don't smoke a lot of THC. I like it. I have it on hand. I do it to help me sleep sometimes, or I'll do it to help me drink less. Because I will say, when I smoke THC or marijuana, when I get home, I'm less likely to drink thereafter, because I don't like combining the two.
Yeah.
I really don't like the way I feel with marijuana and alcohol in my system.
Yeah.
For me, it's one or the other. So if I had to choose, I probably would take the THC.
Let's come back to that too
Okay.
after you answer. Yeah.
I mean, like I say, like 3 little birds. I love the sound of that chirp. Like occasionally in the morning, like I'm an overthinker. I feel like it helps level my thought process, like THC does. Sometimes if I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'll have a little bit, and that helps me out. Even if I drink too much too fast and I feel a little like out of it from the alcohol, smoking weed will level me out. And I don't know if it's just because I've done it over 15 years. My body's used to it. Like I'm a get her done stoner. Like I can handle getting everything done.
a high functioning stoner.
Yeah, no pun intended.
A lot of people aren't. A lot of people are get stoned, watch Netflix.
Right.
Which
yeah,
is more of
and
how
they're
I am.
just super stuff.
So it could be like almost like a cup of coffee to me. I like
Yeah.
it helps me wake up, helps me get my focus on, and helps me stop overthinking about the day.
Sure.
And it's it has that effect, the psychosis, and like I enjoy that too, man. And I can't. I'm gonna fly. I'm gonna be the fourth little bird.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know.
Do you find a difference? I do. Do you find a difference? Like, I do. My ideal situation is smoking. If I know we're gonna go down to the neighbors and have some beers, I like to get stoned and then go have beers,
Okay.
and I enjoy that buzz more than having beers and then getting stoned.
I would 100% agree with that.
Yeah, I feel different. Something about the smoke after I've drank just doesn't vibe with me.
It tends to make me a little bit nauseous sometimes. Not every time.
Yeah.
But I've been more known to do. Your brother, I'm going to he coined the phrase that I now use: yak and sack.
Ah,
If I'm buzzed up and I take a hit of weed, I throw up and then want to go to bed.
yeah, interesting.
Yeah,
So I yak and hit the sack.
Yeah.
Yak and sack. So, but that's me personally. A lot of people like that twisted combination.
Yeah,
But I prefer to come home from work, take a hit of that chronic. I don't do it all the time, but when I do, it'll prolong me from cracking that first beer. And that's
yeah.
one thing I like about it.
There's nothing like having, because you're inhaling smoke, which is not the best for you, but then having a big tall glass of ice water just right there waiting for you.
Oh, yeah.
Like I love that water. I've been getting into eating more edibles recently.
Oh man, going
and-
that route.
And I've actually
like 'em.
I've been enjoying it very much so, to like where coming from being addicted to taking pills,
Right.
it kind of supplements that same
yeah.
action, but it makes me feel a lot better, and it's just incredible that it was a Schedule 1 drug for didn't they decrease that recently? But
I
like
don't think so.
Not
yet.
federally, not yet.
That's just wild to me, man. And
It will be, though.
it's just it's more natural than booze, because you have to manufacture booze, you have to fermentate things and go through this long process. Weed grows,
Yeah.
so it's more natural. There's no calories, and I'm trying to cut my calories back a little bit
There's
this
no
month.
calories. It's a free buzz.
Yeah,
it's
so,
true.
There's that too.
Yeah,
That's true.
I can have, I'll have a couple drinks, and that's fun too. Like to have 1 or 2 beers and then smoke weed, but then I don't add more beer on top, like that layer. It's sort of like I'm at a point where I'm like one direction or the other, like smoke and then have a couple beers, or if I have a beer then smoke, but then that's it. But I've never really been one, like if I was going out with my buddies back in the day and we were, going to drink beer, after 2 or 3 beers, someone would be like, you want to smoke? And I'd say no. And I just never liked adding that layer on after, especially the 3rd beer. It just like kind of train wrecked me, where it wasn't really anything. It wasn't, you didn't really have that like, we're out drinking, let's do it. And you weren't really like fun high either. It was just meh for me personally. But
Yeah, I can relate to that. But every situation
Hitting them
is a little
both
different.
hard has just never really worked for me.
Yeah. Even in my 20s when it was like, give me everything you got. Shots, beers, weed, whatever it is, recreational drugs, I had my fun. And now I've just kind of honed into I like to drink beer, take an occasional shot of whiskey, and take a little bit of weed. I'm not a huge stoner. I never have been.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those people that can wake up in the morning, unless it's a Sunday. I'll wake up on a Sunday and have a little bit of eggs and bacon and do a toke and watch some programs. But I don't feel like it helps my productivity level in a working situation.
Dude, I'll get some of my best workouts on with that.
Oh yeah.
Like, dude, get in the zone.
Yeah. Boo.
Yeah, and it's fun, man.
Yeah.
But that's
it
the
is
thing.
fun
That's
because
the
you're just in
thing,
a
too.
headspace.
Yeah.
For me,
But I still know that like I'm not just, part of me deep down knows that like, yeah, I enjoy that, but like, do I enjoy myself without anything? And the answer is yes. But the answer also is I'm not there that often. So it's like I don't feel like I have to use it, because I've went like 6 months without it. Like I've done the test. Like, okay, let's see if my work increases. Let's see if I'm happier. Dude, and honestly, just toking it doesn't have any negatives for me, and it makes my life a little bit more enjoyable.
yeah, I get that. I mean, I really miss it when I don't have it, and I'm just not. I for me, it's a tool. 100%. Booze for me is a luxury. It's a luxury to have a beer or two. And when I do have a beer or two, like I want to catch a buzz when I have beer, because I figure, well, there's no point, and again, that's kind of why I don't really drink during the week. But, on the weekends, I'll have a couple and it's no big deal. But weed for me is just, it's a functional tool. It's there. It's day to day. I miss it when I don't have it. It just makes sense to just plug that in. And it's interesting how it can be such a tool for some people and strictly recreational, for other people. When they smoke weed, they're high and they're getting high.
Yeah.
And I can get myself high, but I can also smoke weed to where I'm just straight functional.
Just dialed in to your comfortable level, kind of like that. And you basically just said exactly how I feel, but reversed. So like for alcohol, for me, I don't want to say it's a tool for productivity, but I get very talkative after a couple beers, hence why I drink for the podcast. Or, I believe in 40 hours of sobriety a week, so I will never take a drink before I go, work on somebody else's dollar. I will not alter my sobriety on someone else's dollar. But on my own time, I feel like a couple beers kind of helps me come into a comfort level that I know and love. Whereas marijuana is kind of like that luxury.
Yeah, interesting. I lose functionality when I drink, like when I'm building and being creative at home, using my hands and working in the garden. If I have a beer, I can't ride my bike, I can't do the garden, I'm done for the day. Like my little brother could have a beer or two and just shred on the snowboard. I can't ride. I just don't have that engagement.
Yeah, it takes the wind out of my sails too.
Yeah, wind out of my sails, exactly. But I smoked. I didn't know how much weed building that privacy fence. I was just in my zone. That thing is so level.
Dynamite.
It's so perfect. All my nails are boom, 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 perfect. I was running the framing gun. It was super fun.
Did you get in uniform? Did you wear your epic flannel and get in the? That's what
overalls.
I like to hear, Mike.
Yeah, you betcha, you betcha. But yeah, it's just interesting. So again, like beer is really just when it's done, the day's done, the jobs are done. Now it's funny because when I go down the street to help my neighbor Brian build, I crush beer when I'm helping him, but he's a professional builder. So like I'm just there to like hold sheets of gypsum board. I'm not like where when I'm at home I'm doing the job. So it's kind of funny how much stuff we get done down there crushing beer. And he laughs. He's like, "Yeah, and you always drink when you help me build down here." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, because you build straight whether you're drinking or not. Like for me, I have a beer and it's shot."
Yeah. Everybody's different, man. It affects everyone a little bit differently.
Yeah. I mean, my dad and my brothers, have a couple beers every night. So my mom used to. She doesn't really anymore. And also too, just I don't sleep well after any alcohol.
It's fragmented sleep.
Yeah, it's fragmented sleep, and I can feel it even a beer in the morning.
Sure.
Really?
Yeah, I really can. So it's just, I used to just power through all that, and now it's just kind of nice treat to not.
Sure.
You know, and then, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, we have a whole refrigerator in the garage full of beer, and we love it.
See
You
that?
know, because on the weekends it's just so nice.
It's yeah, readily available. And that for me, that's where the struggle is. If the beer's in the fridge, and I know a lot of listeners could probably relate to me, I'm drinking it. You know,
Yeah.
I'm going to keep grabbing it until it's bedtime. And that's where it becomes a problem. You know, my father's been a reformed alcoholic for the last 3 decades. Alcoholism runs deep in our family. It's something that I'm aware of. I don't consider myself a full-fledged alcoholic, but I'm aware that that possibility is there, and I can go over the line at any moment.
Yeah.
You know, so I keep that in mind. You know, Mom likes to enjoy a little bit of wine each night. You know, she takes a toke. You know, everybody's different. Everybody's body responds different.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
Hey, I say, you know what, if you're doing well in life and you're happy with yourself, you know, treats are treats. I used to get to the point when, you know, because I had, you know, an addiction to fitness where I took it to that unhealthy level where I was like angry at myself, you know, because I had a snack or had a treat, and I was just taking it too extreme. You know, and I thought, like, you know, my social media posts had to be all about fitness and you know, this, and I, you know, it was almost like body shaming. Like you were getting yourself to look physically, aesthetically good because you were ashamed of yourself. You know, and that was an interesting period of my life too. And it just so much happier now where I'm like, I'm fit and I'm happy and I like to drink beer on the weekend.
it's a great place to be.
Yeah.
It's good balance.
Yeah.
I mean, we need
Way
to
more
live
balanced.
still. Like,
yeah, you do.
but
You
like,
have to.
you know, it's
Yeah.
good to be critical about yourself. Like I was talking about walking by the bowl of snacks, or oh damn, I ate those Doritos last night, and I've been kind of hard on myself about that because I'm trying to implement the new change.
Yeah.
But you got to give yourself breaks, and like life is still worth rewarding yourself, and like nothing is worth beating yourself up over. Like you know, and even if you might feel like you dropped the ball there, then just, you know, be like, you know, the ball fell, and am I
Right.
gonna pick it back up or not?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
let's pick it back up.
And I think it's good and healthy to go through periods where you're a little more driven and extreme in pushing. Like, you know, if you really want to hit a goal and you got to kind of dive into it and go 110% to hit that goal, to then go, all right, goal set, goal met. Now I have the flexibility to get back into a more regimented and average lifestyle and not that be, you know, driven. But sometimes you have to drive hard to get past one habit into the next swing of things. You know, when I went sober, no booze, just weed for 6 months, and like, man, what year was that? It was right around 2015. It was right when I met my now wife, because on our first couple of dates, I mean, for 6 months, I didn't have any drinks, and she doesn't really drink a whole lot, so it worked. But that extremeness was what showed me how much I wanted to regulate alcohol for myself, and that was a cool experience.
I'm battling with that right now. Like I like want that, and I'm like still haven't hit that.
Want what?
Want to regulate it more.
Oh,
Where
yeah.
it's not a nightly thing. Like I don't want alcohol to be a nightly thing for me.
Yeah, see,
And
I
it
had to
has
go to
become
that extreme where I just got so wasted and was so miserable the next day. I shut it off, and everyone, of course, because you always say that to yourself. And then 6 months later, surely I did. But what I had found was I'd gotten to a point then where it was just like too much, and I was like, you know, going out to dinner with this great girl now, and I was like, I kind of want to drink again. You know, like I want a beer. So I got into it, and I was like, I wonder if I'll go off the deep end again, and I didn't. I had found a sort of a stasis, a middle ground for myself, and I've never really gone back. I mean, I've had some hangovers and drank too much on a Friday, but you know, wasn't like getting after it on a Tuesday anymore. So it was interesting. I had to go to one extreme to find a better middle ground, but not having alcohol for me, just, you know, it was a little silly because I didn't have a problem. I wasn't chugging bottles of vodka in the shower or missing work or anything. It just, the way I feel during the week when I drink, I didn't want that anymore, but it was weird. I had to go to a full extreme to get to that point because I couldn't just
Balance
not
the
have
pendulum, man.
Yeah, because I would be like, well, you know, I really don't want to drink during the week, but it's Wednesday. I did it for 2 days. What's a beer? and then I'd have a beer or two, and then Thursday I'd be like, dang, and I'd ride myself so hard, and then I'd try again, and it was like success, fail. I just had to like go full success and hammer it 6 months. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to start to have, drinks again. And I was like able to moderate it because I had seen, the success of that 6 months. But just, it'd be like if you were a bodybuilder, a fitness competitor 12 months out of the year, it would destroy you. Those people only compete for like 2 months out of the year. 10 months out of the year, their bodies look not normal like everyone else, but they don't look near as shredded as they do during competition season because it's such a brutal commitment.
Yeah.
I look at how much fun I've had hanging out with people and having beers since that sobriety challenge in 2015. I've had some great times, but I'm way more regulated. I just had to really turn that switch.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to need to be here soon, I think.
You
It's just balancing what works for you, and I know that I drink too much.
Yeah.
So that's something, I'm about to be 32 years old, getting to be that point. What's working, what isn't working. I'm seeing the health, the health effects from what I've done to my body over the last 12 to 15 years, and I don't want to continue to do it that way.
See, alcohol is an interesting substance too, because it would be awesome if there was like something to replace it with, but like weed is not a replacement for alcohol. CBD isn't. Really, even farmies aren't a replace for alcohol. Like, I know some people are like, I drink kava and it's like the same thing. And I'm like, it's not really. There's no like healthy replacement for alcohol, because the buzz you get on alcohol is so unique to alcohol.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I think for me, what's going to work for a lot of people that give up booze is like what I do during Sober October is drink sparkling waters and smoke pot.
Yeah.
That's the closest I can get to maintaining a calm and neutral mindset while still maintaining a buzz. Without feeling the alcohol.
So you're getting this part of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love like LaCroix and what's the other
Bubbly.
ones? Yeah. We drink a lot of those at home.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
When I'm not drinking beer during the day, that's when I'm drinking.
Yeah.
Because I need that carbonation.
Yeah.
And that's what gets me through Sober October.
And it's probably similar to a cigarette smoker, where this is just as addictive as the nicotine. So you have that to overcome. Yeah.
Yeah, totally, man.
Yeah, I think that, the weed personally just takes the edge off, which for me during the week, again, on the weekend, I have beers because I like to have a buzz. That's what drinking is for me. If I'm going to have beers, I want the buzz.
Unwinding, yeah.
Yeah, so during the week, I'm more just trying to take the edge off, so the weed does perfect. But it's not a replacement. I mean, I don't, when I go down to my neighbors, I'm not like, I don't like socially smoke weed. I'm not like, oh, let's get together with 4 or 5 people and smoke weed. It's
pass
it's
a
a very
around.
personal thing for me. I don't know. Do you smoke weed with a lot of people at this point? Yeah, it's personal.
It's me.
Yeah.
Well, even before COVID times, I wouldn't say I've never been a germaphobe per se.
Yeah.
But I was always conscious about sharing doobies or lighting the end of the bowl to clean off some germies or whatever. We're going to pass contaminants around, right? No matter what. But that
I've never enjoyed group smoking. It never did anything for me.
Yeah, it's no different than smoking. Yeah, I
I'd
get what you're
rather
saying.
be high around people, but I don't want to just like, because then all everyone wants to do is just kind of sit there. And that was the weird part. I'm
a productive stoner. You're a productive stoner too.
And yeah. So you get into a group and be like, all right, cool, we're high. Let's sit here and be high. And I'd be like, yeah, but what are we gonna do? Like, now I'm locked into this group think where we're all just sitting. I'm like, I'm out. So I was never like a good group smoker.
He's like sitting here like, this is too much like meditation.
Right.
Peace.
Right. Yeah, I'm getting angry because they're trying to meditate here. Like,
I was smoking my own terms. You're not gonna tell me when I'm gonna meditate.
Yeah,
That's
I can understand. Yeah, I can totally understand.
Yeah.
that.
So I've never been a social smoker. I'm sociable when I'm high. No problem, but I've never been like, oh, let's meet up and we'll, and I've always thought too, even back in the day when it was super ritualistic because it was so difficult to get weed pre-legalization, there was a massive ritual, okay, all right, if you throw in this much of a nug, so will I, and then you pack the bowl and we'll pass it to the left, but we'll only each do a puff and a half, and it was like, man, it's just weed, dude. Just throw it in a bowl and smoke it. Like, I was never a big fan of these overwhelming rituals. Oh no, you pass it to the right, and like, it's just like, oh,
Yeah, the puff
my
pass.
God.
You got to follow all these stipulations and rules.
Too much.
It's too much.
Too much.
It's too much.
Yeah.
You know, let's just get stoned. You know.
I mean, nowadays in Colorado, you grind it up on the table and you go like that on the floor because it's just you got so much.
Yeah, you're like,
sitting
we don't
here.
need this. You
In
know,
college, you were like,
you'd be
Oh, yeah.
scraping it up. You're taking
Yeah.
the brownie crumbs
right, yeah, the
with
brownie
it,
crumbs,
and you're
right,
smoking
yeah, Yeah, it's
Yeah,
hilarious.
occasionally I'll have that low moment where I've ran out of chronic and I'm like, I could rip resin for a day or two.
Right.
Gives me a headache.
And then
Oh,
after a day I'm just like, God, this is not working. All that
Yeah.
butane,
Oh,
Ugh.
like it's
all
just
that butane.
it doesn't make you
That's
feel
too much.
right.
That's too much.
You know, so man, this has been a great episode on the chronic because man, what a wonderful flower. But we did get a word of the week, right?
Yeah, we did. We had a submission.
Yeah, great.
Let's see here.
That was a tough would you rather.
So this word of the week is it's coming in. It's coming in from a man named Alex, and he's out of Wichita Falls, Texas. So thank you, Alex, for
Yeah,
the
thanks,
submission.
Thanks, Alex.
And the word of the week is a noun. Okay, and this word of the week is gumption.
Gumption.
Gumption. Gumption.
Gumption.
Gumption.
Yeah, like they had the gumption to do that.
Yep. So Mike already probably knows the meaning behind this word.
I think
Is it like tenacity?
So we'll use it in a sentence, which Mike basically just did. She had the gumption to put her foot down.
yeah, tenacity.
Yep, and that's exactly what it is, man. You know, it's a noun, an informal, shrewd or spirited initiative and resourcefulness.
Shrewd. Yeah, shrewd initiative.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like
Crushed it, man.
gumption isn't an old word too. Not that all words aren't old, but like an old timey word. Like you would hear the word gumption more 50 years ago than
Sure.
you would have 20 years ago.
It kind of circulated in the vocabulary back when.
Yeah.
That's what's cool about these Word of the Weeks, man. We get a lot of people, and thanks again, Alex, for sending that in.
Yeah, thanks, Alex.
It's fun because there is a lot of words that come in.
I've never heard gumption. If you didn't use it in
Oh,
a sentence,
really?
if
I've
you didn't
heard
use
it, but I didn't know the
I would
meaning.
have tried to guess it. I would have looked. So thank you for saving me
Oh.
the embarrassment. Because I would have been like, gumption,
Yeah.
like gum, like so it's elastic. I would have been like, shun.
Gumption. Yeah,
I
I
would
feel like my
I would have been
mom
putting
has
it all
yelled
together, and it would have been all
gumption
wrong.
before. I feel
Has
like
she?
you would hear it in the Midwest.
It could
Huh.
be.
Can't
It could be a
believe they had the
regional term. I mean, he
gumption
is
to
from
do
Wichita
that.
Falls.
Like that boy got some gumption right there.
Yeah.
Damn, did you see Mike with
Gumption.
Mountainmade? He had some gumption releasing all those new products.
Patchy
Gumption.
Patch has that gumption,
Yeah,
dog.
gumption. Yeah, old timey.
That was a good word of the week.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah.
thanks, Alex. We like
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
That's when I could
I remember
definitely
the
throw into my
last one
daily
I was
use.
on scared me because you said it and I was like,
Oh, do you remember what it was?
oh man, it was something tough. It was like man.
Oh man.
Oh, wasn't it like the sexual kind of one?
Oh, who
No,
knows?
There was
I don't know.
I can't remember,
Yeah.
man. There's been too many.
yeah. It's fun though because you hear a word and you're like, oh man, I should know that. I should know that. I should know that.
Yeah. I learn something every week, man. That's what's cool about this. Every week I sit at this table, I will learn something.
Yeah, that's actually something that I've, continued to tell myself I should get into. It's either like a word of the day or word of the week and just to expand my vocabulary a little bit. But I don't know. I listened to this one podcast and this fella just tries so hard because all he uses is big, complex words. And I think he's like compensating or something. Like maybe he wasn't super cool growing up, so now he overtalks the situation. I really do. Because, I enjoy his perspective, but man, it's like nails on a damn chalkboard because he just can't have a simple conversation. And I'm like, man, you really had to use like a 4-syllable word right there? Like, come on, dog.
Yeah. And that
But
could
I
be.
think, a little more vocabulary sprinkled in would be nice.
I mean, it's always nice to increase the vernacular, you know.
Yeah, see, there you go.
and it's fun though. It's I mean, I'm a lyricist to heart. Like I got a mic on my chest, MC, master ceremonial. Like I love wordplay, and words are fun, So it's fun to use words, and it feels good when you're just like running off a conversation and you have that kind of
Right.
word that specifically explains exactly what you're talking about. It's not a common word. Like that, I feel accomplished when I'm talking. Like I think there was at one point I said something kind of sentence on here, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that sounded good. A lot of P's in there, and they all fit." But I don't know, guys. So Oh, man, it's 2021, everybody.
It's 2021.
It's 2021.
2021.
And
Getting excited over there.
it's just, there's a lot that's going to happen this year.
Sure is.
I'm excited for Mountain Made CBD because, I mean, god damn how much you've grown since we've partnered up with you guys. I'm excited for the podcast.
Terrific.
I'm excited for everything that's happening, that we're accomplishing. And everybody, let's believe and achieve for the week is let's look with inside. And I'm just going to reiterate kind of what I was saying earlier is believe and achieve the challenge. Believe and achieve accomplishing a hard task. Like if you really want to make the gain, like gain the pain, whatever, how that goes. But it's true. Like you're going to have to go through the pain to accomplish it. And once you start feeling the hurt, that's when you know that you've started. So keep pushing through that, believe and achieve pushing through the pain because once you come out of that, you're going to feel great.
Absolutely, you're going to feel great. It was like I was saying earlier, a lot of people get stuck in that mentality of doing more to avoid pain than they will to gain the pleasure. But you know what? Sometimes you do have to go through those dark times, those rough times, take the beating, take the sting to get to where you want to be next. It's making that conscious decision that you want to better this current situation that you're in. It's easy to become complacent. We have so many tools and resources in place to keep us complacent. It's grabbing that bull by the horns and owning it. It's making that decision that you want to do something better. 2021 is the year to do it. 2020 for a lot of people was rough. It was tremendous for me. But you know what? This train keeps rolling, and we're going to own it. We're going to go like hell. We're going to keep grinding, And Mike Pachan, what are you thinking, man?
Man, I'm pumped for the year. I'm pumped. I think it's going to be an intense year, and I'm going to embrace the intensity and just get after it, man. We've set some good goals at the home to get some more remodels done. Year 2 of the garden's coming up. I just got some ganja seeds. We're going to integrate some ganja in the garden.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And man, we're excited. Sky's the limit. It's going to be intense, and I'm kind of excited for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am too, man. I'm ready.
I'm ready to embrace intensity.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's keep ripping, tater chipping.
Yeah.
Let's own it.
Let's do it.
Let's go like hell.
Go like hell?
Oh, yeah.
All of them.
Let's hashtag all the things.
All of the things.
2021 is
right.
our year. It's your year.
Yep. Let's round out the conversation, man. If anyone at home is sitting there going, man, what this social media is just grinding me now. Log off. I said it in April. Log off. Give yourself, you ain't going to miss out on nothing. Just give yourself a week. Give yourself a month. I just really think that is a big piece of what some folks need to hit their next level. Just disappear for a minute. Come inward, like Art's doing right now, doing great. Coming inward a little bit, challenging himself, man, and just... Man, drop out of the world for a minute if you need. It's still going to be here.
Oh, yeah. It's not going anywhere.
Just as crazy as when you left it. Just log off. Walk away. Restrict.
It's great advice.
Restrict. Man. Yeah, look into restriction. It's good.
Yep.
And when you're letting go of that social media, you're going to want to take a look at it. And that's when you prove to yourself that you got the strength to overcome and restrict yourself. Because when it's hard, when our backs are against the wall, that's truly the only time that we have to prove. Like, if you're scared, that's the only time you can truly be brave. So just think about that next time you're struggling. That's the only time that you can truly show your strength. Let's get it in 2021. I love you, Mike.
Love it.
I love
Thanks
you,
for
Kev.
having me on.
And everybody, we appreciate y'all. You want to say it.
Well, I'll tell you this, man. Much love to both of you guys. I love sitting down and chatting with you.
Yep, love it.
Some of my favorite people, Mike. Thanks again for being here. We love what you do. You're coming back on as 2020's guest of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go for 2021. He's going to try and hit that repeat.
Yes. Let's do it.
So, look, man, I'll say this. We would bash social media tonight. When you guys finish taking your break from it, be sure to follow us on it. Okay? So to have that double end thing there, we're on it. We're on all of it. If you don't want to follow us on there, that's fine too. We love you guys. We love reaching out. Continue to reach out to us. Give us some suggestions. We love it, man. Y'all be good to yourselves because you deserve it. And we'll see you next week.